The story opens on Titan Station, a massive repair dock floating in the void between stars. Tom works as a senior mechanic, fixing ships that limp in from battles across the galaxy. He is skilled but quiet, keeping his military past buried deep. Most aliens see humans as clever fixers, nothing more. The station buzzes with panic when the stellar wind arrives. This ancient warship belongs to the Keth Empire, one of the most powerful alien races in the galaxy. The ship is badly damaged from fighting space pirates. Its hull is cracked, engines are failing, and the weapon systems are dead. Captain Vex of the Keth steps onto the station. He is tall, with blue skin and 4 arms, wearing expensive armor. The Keth are known for their pride and their belief that only they can pilot their sacred warships. Vex looks down on the human mechanics, but needs their help badly. Tom gets assigned to work on the stellar wind. As he climbs inside the ship, something strange happens. The lights flicker in patterns, and the air feels alive with energy. Ancient. Keth ships are said to have spirits, but most people think this is just superstition. While Tom works on the engine core, he finds something unexpected. Hidden in the ship's memory banks are battle records from a war fought 300 years ago. The files show a human pilot flying this very ship into impossible battles and winning every time. The pilot's name was Marcus Kane, and he died saving an entire Keth colony. The ship's AI speaks to Tom through the communication system. Its voice is old and tired, like a grandfather telling stories. The AI reveals that it remembers Marcus and has been waiting for another human worthy of its trust. It chose Tom, not because he is a mechanic, but because it can sense the warrior hidden inside him. Tom tries to deny his past, but the ship already knows. It has scanned his DNA and found the genetic markers of Earth's military families. More importantly, it has felt his spirit and recognizes the same courage that Marcus had long ago. As Tom works through the night, the ship begins to repair itself in ways that should be impossible. Circuits that were burned out start working again. Hull plates seal their own cracks. The AI explains that the stellar wind is not just a machine, but a living partnership between pilot and ship. Captain Vex returns the next morning, expecting to find slow progress. Instead, he discovers that his ship is almost completely repaired. He is suspicious, but grateful. However, his gratitude turns to anger when he learns that Tom has been accessing the ship's sacred memory banks. The tension builds when long range sensors detect an approaching fleet. The Red Claw pirates are coming to finish what they started. They have 20 ships against the station's minimal defenses. Captain Vex prepares for battle, but the stellar wind refuses to respond to his commands. Ship's Eye makes its choice clear. It will only fly for Tom, the human mechanic who carries the spirit of its first human pilot. Vex is outraged, but there is no time to argue. The pirates will arrive within hours. Tom stands in the ship's bridge, feeling the weight of destiny on his shoulders. He left his warrior days behind after losing his squad in a terrible battle. He became a mechanic to fix things instead of destroying them. But now, an ancient alien warship is asking him to fight again. The part ends with Tom placing his hands on the ship's control interface. The stellar wind comes fully alive for the first time in decades. Every system glows with power, and the ship's voice whispers in Tom's mind, welcoming him home. Outside, the first pirate scouts appear on the horizon. The station's defenders scramble to their posts, knowing they are badly outnumbered. But in the docking bay, something incredible is about to happen. A human mechanic and an ancient alien warship are about to show the galaxy what true partnership looks like. Tom takes a deep breath and begins the launch sequence. The stellar wind purrs like a satisfied cat as its engines warm up. The ship has found its champion, and the champion has found his purpose again. The battle for Titan Station is about to begin, and neither the pirates nor the galaxy will ever be the same. Asterisk, the stellar wind launches from Titan Station, just as the pirate fleet drops out of hyperspace. Tom feels the ship respond to his thoughts, like an extension of his own body. Every control surface knows his touch, and every system hums in perfect harmony with his intentions. Captain Vex stands behind Tom on the bridge, his forearms crossed in frustration and disbelief. He cannot understand how a human mechanic can fly his ancestral warship better than he can. The Keth have piloted ships for thousands of years, believing themselves to be the galaxy's natural-born spacers. The ship's AI speaks to both of them through the communication system. It explains that flying is not about species or tradition, but about the bond between mind and machine. The stellar wind was built to choose its own pilot, and it has chosen Tom because his spirit matches what it needs. The pirate fleet spreads out in attack formation. Their leader, Captain Rex, commands from a massive battlecruiser called the Iron Fang. He has been hunting the stellar wind for months, wanting to claim the legendary ship as his prize. Rex believes that overwhelming numbers will guarantee victory. Tom studies the tactical display as the enemy ships approach. There are 20 pirate vessels against his single ship, but the stellar wind is no ordinary warship. It was built by master craftsmen and enhanced with technologies that most races have forgotten. The ship shares its knowledge with Tom, showing him capabilities that even Captain Vex never knew existed. The first engagement begins when 3 pirate fighters break formation to test the stellar wind's defenses. Tom lets them come close and demonstrates the ship's speed. The ancient vessel moves like lightning, dodging plasma bolts that should have been impossible to avoid. Tom fires back with precision that amazes everyone watching. The ship's weapons are perfectly calibrated, and every shot hits its target. 2 pirate fighters explode in brilliant flashes, while the third retreats in panic. The surviving pilot reports to Captain Rex that they are facing something beyond normal understanding. Titan Station, the defense coordinator watches in shock as the battle unfolds. The station's own fighters have launched to help, but they cannot match the stellar wind's performance. The human pilot and alien ship fight as if they have trained together for years, instead of meeting just hours ago. Captain Vex begins to understand what he is witnessing. The ship is not just being piloted by Tom. It is dancing with him. Every maneuver flows from one to the next with perfect grace. The stellar wind anticipates Tom's intentions and responds before he even gives commands. The pirates try to surround the stellar wind, but Tom uses the ship's advanced engines to stay ahead of their formation. He leads them through the asteroid field near Titan Station, using the floating rocks as cover and weapons. The ship's AI guides him through paths that would be suicide for any other pilot. During a brief moment between attacks, Tom opens his mind fully to the ship. The connection deepens beyond anything he expected. He can feel the stellar wind's history flowing through him. Every battle it has fought, every pilot it has carried, every moment of triumph and loss. The ship shows Tom visions of Marcus Kane, the human pilot from 3 centuries ago. Marcus fought with the same fearless spirit that Tom is showing now. The AI explains that it has been lonely since Marcus died, waiting for another soul that could understand the joy of perfect flight. Rex grows impatient with his fleet's failures. He orders all remaining ships to focus their fire on the stellar wind simultaneously. 20 plasma cannons charge up for a devastating combined attack that should vaporize any target. Tom feels the danger through his connection with the ship. The stellar wind warns him about the incoming barrage, but instead of running, they choose to meet it head-on. The ship's defensive systems activate technologies that have not been used in centuries. Energy shields flare around the stellar wind as the pirate attack begins. The shields hold against impossible odds, dispersing and reflecting the plasma bolts back at their sources. Two pirate ships are destroyed by their own reflected fire. The galaxy watches in amazement as a human, mechanic, and an ancient alien warship prove that partnership transcends species boundaries. Tom and the stellar wind move as one being, demonstrating the true meaning of unity between different forms of consciousness. The part ends with Tom preparing for the final phase of battle. Captain Rex is bringing his battlecruiser forward for personal combat. The Iron Fang is 3 times larger than the stellar wind, armed with enough weapons to destroy a small moon. But Tom is no longer afraid. He has found his purpose again, and the ship has found its perfect partner. The Iron Fang moves forward like a steel mountain bristling with weapons. Captain Rex has grown tired of watching his smaller ships fail against the stellar wind. He decides to end the battle personally, commanding from the bridge of his massive battlecruiser. Tom feels the ship's excitement through their mental link. The stellar wind has been waiting centuries for a challenge worthy of its true capabilities. The AI whispers tactical advice, sharing knowledge of weapon patterns and defensive strategies that it learned from countless battles. The two ships face each other in the space between Titan Station and the asteroid field. The size difference is overwhelming. The Iron Fang could easily hold 3 ships like the stellar wind inside its cargo bays. But Tom has learned that in space combat, speed and skill matter more than raw size. Captain Rex opens communication channels to offer surrender terms. His voice booms across all frequencies, demanding that Tom give up the stellar wind and submit to pirate justice. Rex promises a quick death if Tom cooperates, and slow torture if he continues to resist. Tom responds by powering up all weapon systems. The stellar wind's guns glow with energy that has been building for hours of combat. The ship's AI has been carefully managing power distribution, saving the strongest attacks for this moment. Every circuit and capacitor is ready for maximum output. The battle begins when Captain Rex fires his main cannon. The plasma bolt is larger than most fighter ships, carrying enough energy to crack a planet's surface. Tom guides the stellar wind in a spiral pattern that barely avoids the devastating attack. The Iron Fang continues firing, filling space with a deadly light show. Tom dances the stellar wind through the barrage like a leaf in a storm. The ship responds to his thoughts instantly, turning and rolling in ways that seem impossible for something made of metal and circuits. Captain Vex stands amazed on the bridge as he watches Tom pilot his family's warship. The human moves with instincts that the Keth captain has never seen before. Every dodge is perfectly timed, every acceleration calculated to waste not a single moment or meter of space. Tom begins his counterattack by targeting the Iron Fang's weapon systems. The stellar wind's guns are smaller than the battlecruiser's cannons, but they fire with surgical precision. Tom aims for weak points in the enemy's armor, places where the ship's AI calculates the most damage can be done. Each hit creates explosions. Along the Iron Fang's hull, Captain Rex realizes that his opponent knows exactly where to strike for maximum effect. The human pilot is not firing randomly, but picking apart the battlecruiser with the skill of a master surgeon. The stellar wind moves in close to the Iron Fang, using the larger ship's blind spots as protection. Tom flies along the battlecruiser's hull, so close that the ship's sensors can barely track him. The AI guides him to maintenance hatches and sensor arrays that can be destroyed to cripple the enemy. Captain Rex orders his crew to launch all remaining fighters. Dozens of small ships pour out of the Iron Fang's launch bays, trying to swarm the stellar wind with overwhelming numbers. But Tom and his ship are ready for this tactic. The stellar wind activates weapon systems that Captain Vex never knew existed. Hidden gun ports open along the ship's hull, revealing defensive turrets that track multiple targets simultaneously. The AI takes control of these secondary weapons while Tom focuses on flying and main gun targeting, Space becomes a deadly dance as the stellar wind fights on all fronts. Tom pilots through clouds of enemy fighters, while the ship's automatic defenses destroy anything that gets too close. The coordination between human reflexes and artificial intelligence creates a fighting machine that seems unstoppable. Captain Rex watches his fighter squadrons disappear one by one. He begins to understand that he is not facing an ordinary pilot or an ordinary ship. The stellar wind and its human champion fight with a unity that transcends normal understanding. The battlecruiser tries to ram the stellar wind using its massive bulk as a weapon. Tom sees the attack coming through his connection with the ship's sensors. Together, they execute a maneuver that will be talked about in flight schools for generations. The stellar wind dives under the Iron Fang, then rolls upward to fire at the battlecruiser's engines. The plasma bolts strike home, causing explosions that ripple along the enemy ship's stern. The Iron Fang begins to lose power, and maneuverability. Tom positions the stellar wind for the killing blow. The ship's main weapon charges to full power, ready to end the battle. But Captain Rex has one desperate trick remaining. Captain Rex activates his battlecruiser's self-destruct sequence. If he cannot claim the stellar wind, he will destroy both ships in a final act of spite. The Iron Fang's reactor begins to overload, building toward an explosion that will vaporize everything within 50 kilometers. Tom feels the danger through his connection with the ship. The stellar wind's sensors detect the rising energy levels inside the enemy battlecruiser. They have less than 3 minutes before the Iron Fang becomes a miniature sun, taking Titan Station and thousands of innocent lives with it. The ship's AI quickly calculates their options. They could escape to safe distance, but that would do. The space station and everyone aboard it. The only way to save lives is to contain the explosion somehow. But that would require flying directly into the heart of the blast. Captain Vex realizes what Rex is planning. The Keth warrior's honor compels him to speak up, telling Tom that no pilot should be expected to make such a sacrifice. The stellar wind has already proven its superiority. There is no shame in retreating to fight another day. But Tom makes his choice without hesitation. He has already lost one family to war. His military squad died because he made a mistake in judgment years ago. He will not let thousands more people die while he has the power to prevent it. The mechanic who ran from battle has found his courage again. Tom pushes the stellar wind to maximum speed, racing toward the Iron Fang as its reactor builds to critical mass. The ship's AI supports his decision completely, understanding that some things are more important than survival. Together, they will attempt something that has never been tried before. The plan requires perfect timing and absolute trust between pilot and ship. Tom will fly the stellar wind into the Iron Fang's engine core just as the reactor explodes. The ship's advanced shields and structural integrity fields might be able to contain the blast long enough to direct it away from the station as they approach the doomed battlecruiser. The stellar wind begins to change. Armor plates shift and realign themselves into new configurations. Energy conduits reroute power to the shield generators. The ship transforms itself into a living containment vessel. Captain Rex sees them coming and laughs with madness. He believes Tom is simply committing suicide in despair. The pirate leader does not understand that he is witnessing the ultimate expression of partnership between different forms of consciousness. Tom flies the stellar wind through a breach in the Iron Fang's hull, penetrating deep into the battlecruiser's core. The reactor chamber glows with deadly radiation, but the ship's shields protect them as they navigate through twisted metal and sparking conduits. The explosion begins just as they reach the reactor's heart. Reality tears apart in waves of pure energy that should instantly destroy any matter it touches. But the stellar wind holds together through sheer force of will and advanced technology that defies normal physics. Tom feels the explosion through every nerve in his body. The ship shares the pain with him, distributing the impossible stresses across both their consciousness. Human determination and artificial intelligence work together to accomplish what neither could achieve alone. The stellar wind becomes a living lens, focusing the reactor explosion into a narrow beam that shoots harmlessly into empty space. The energy that would have destroyed Titan Station instead creates a brilliant pillar of light stretching toward distant stars. For a moment that lasts forever, Tom and the ship exist at the center of creation itself. They feel the fundamental forces of the universe flowing through them, understanding secrets that few beings ever glimpse. The boundary between human and machine dissolves completely. When the explosion finally ends, the stellar wind floats in the wreckage of the iron. Fang, the ship's hull is scorched and damaged, but its core systems remain intact. Tom slumps in the pilot's seat, exhausted by the mental strain of their impossible feat. Captain Vex checks the sensor readings in disbelief. They are alive, the station is safe, and the pirate fleet has been completely destroyed. The human mechanic and the ancient warship have achieved victory against odds that no computer could have calculated. The ship's AI speaks softly to Tom, expressing gratitude for the partnership they have forged. The stellar wind has found purpose again after centuries of loneliness. More importantly, it has helped Tom rediscover the warrior's heart he thought he had lost forever. Messages flood in from Titan Station as rescue ships launch to retrieve them. The galaxy has witnessed something unprecedented, a human and an alien ship fighting as one being. 3 weeks after the battle, Tom sits in the stellar wind's engine room, making repairs with gentle, careful hands. The ship sustained damage during their impossible feat of containing the reactor explosion, but nothing that cannot be fixed. With patience and skill, Captain Vex has remained on Titan Station during the repair process. The proud Keth warrior has spent his time learning about human history and culture, trying to understand how Tom accomplished what trained Keth pilots could not. His discoveries have shaken his beliefs about racial superiority. The ship's AI shares its memories with Tom as they work together. It shows him visions of the galaxy's early years, when different species first met among the stars. Back then, cooperation was common, but centuries of war and prejudice have made most races suspicious of others. News of the battle has spread across known space. Military academies study the tactical recordings, trying to understand how a single ship defeated an entire pirate fleet. Scientists examine the sensor data from the reactor containment, baffled by technology that seems to violate physical laws. Tom receives messages from across the galaxy. Some are offers of employment from military fleets who want to hire him as a pilot. Others are challenges from warriors who think his victory was just luck. A few are thank you notes from people whose lives were saved when Titan Station survived. The station commander, an elderly woman named Admiral Stone, visits the stellar wind personally. She brings formal recognition from the Galactic Defense Council, along with offers of promotion and commendation. Tom politely declines most of the honors, preferring to remain what he has always been, a mechanic who fixes things. Captain Vex makes an unexpected announcement during the Admiral's visit. He formally transfers ownership of the stellar wind to Tom, recognizing that the ship has chosen its true pilot. This decision shocks the Keth Empire, but Vex explains that honor requires acknowledging reality. The ship's AI expresses joy at this development. It no longer has to pretend loyalty to pilots it cannot respect. The ancient warship has found its perfect partner in a human mechanic who understands that true strength comes from unity rather than domination. Tom accepts the ship with humility and gratitude. He promises to use the stellar wind to protect innocent lives and promote cooperation between species. The galaxy needs examples of successful partnerships between different forms of consciousness. Several young pilots from various species request permission to study with Tom. They want to learn how he achieved such perfect harmony with an alien ship. Tom agrees to teach them, but warns that the real lesson cannot be learned from books or lectures. The first student is a young Keth warrior named Alex, who represents the new generation of his people. Alex has studied human history and recognizes that cooperation achieves more than conquest. He approaches the stellar wind with respect, rather than the arrogance of his elders. Tom takes Alex aboard the ship for his first lesson. The ship's AI evaluates the young Keth and finds potential for growth. Alex has the humility to learn and the courage to change his preconceptions about other species. During their first flight together, Alex experiences what Tom felt weeks earlier, the joy of perfect communication with an alien intelligence. The ship responds to his thoughts and emotions, showing him that understanding transcends species boundaries. More students arrive from across the galaxy. Humans, Keth, and dozens of other races work together on Titan Station, learning to fly ships that choose their own pilots. The station becomes a center for interspecies cooperation and understanding. Tom establishes a new kind of flight academy, based on partnership rather than domination. Students learn to listen to their ships as well as control them. The curriculum emphasizes empathy, communication, and respect for different forms of consciousness. The pirate attacks on trade routes decrease dramatically as word spreads about the new pilots. Criminal fleets no longer face individual ships, but coordinated partnerships between sentient beings. The balance of power in space begins to shift toward cooperation. Years pass, and Tom becomes a legend among spacers. But he remains humble, always identifying himself as a mechanic first and a pilot second. He teaches students that their most important tool is not weapons or engines, but the willingness to understand others. The stellar wind serves as flagship for a new fleet of partnership vessels. Each ship chooses its own pilot regardless of species, creating crews that fight with unprecedented unity. The galaxy watches in amazement as old prejudices crumble before practical success. Tom often thinks about Marcus Kane, the first human to pilot the stellar wind. He wonders if Marcus dreamed of a future where different species would work together. As equals, the ship's AI assures him that Marcus would be proud of what they have accomplished. The story ends with Tom and the stellar wind launching from Titan Station on another mission. They fly toward the unknown regions of space, ready to face whatever challenges await them. Behind them, a new generation of pilots prepares to follow their example. The mechanic who prepared for battle has become something greater, a bridge between worlds, proof that unity conquers all.